We'll take you live now to the Ontario Legislature, where question period is underway. Let's listen in live.
Member opposite for that question. You know, I've got the fall economic statement here. I've got the budget from last April that we took to the people. And, you know, as I go around and the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing goes around and the Premier and the Deputy Premier, we talk to big city mayors, we talk to rural mayors, we talk to all kinds of mayors. And you know what they keep telling us? Thank you for the investments that we're making in their communities. What do I hear? You know, maybe you should get out and listen a little bit. You know what I hear? Thank you to the Minister of Infrastructure for investments in broadband, which is so critical to many of our communities. You know what else I hear? We hear? Thank you for the investments in the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund so they can upgrade their water and their sewage, which we doubled to $2 billion. And you know, just recently at the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, they said thank you for the state.
Thank you. The supplementary question.
Thank you, Speaker. Let me tell the minister what's really happening out there. This government is hitting municipalities on all sides. First, they let their rich developer friends skip the bill and starve municipalities out of billions, and then they sit on nearly $1 billion earmarked for municipal services and infrastructure. Now, people from Oshawa to Thunder Bay are facing massive increases in their property taxes as municipalities are scrambling to make up for that lost funding. And in Waterloo region alone, taxes are going up 8.55% at a time when people are already hurting. Go out there and talk to homeowners. Their heating bills are up. Their grocery bills are through the roof. Can this Premier explain why he's making everyday Ontarians pay his developer friends' bills?
Minister of Finance.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I don't know what kind of math they're teaching in Waterloo, but that just isn't the truth in terms of actually understanding.
Okay, I'm going to ask the minister to withdraw.
First time in 5 years I do that. Speaker, you know what? When we go to places like the Waterloo region, you know what they say? They say thank you for the investments in infrastructure right across this whole province, Mr. Speaker. They say thank you for helping us with highways, building highways, not just in the 413, the Bradford bypass, but, Mr. Speaker, the Highway 7 between Kitchener and Guelph. That's what they're talking about. They're talking about the widening of the Highway 17 all the way from Empire to Renfrew. They're talking about the Timmins connecting link. The Timmins connecting link. They're talking about moving people and goods so that the hardworking people of this province can take their kids to school, that they can take their goods to market. That's what we're doing in this province, Mr. Speaker.
The final supplementary.
You know what they're teaching in Waterloo, Speaker? They're teaching quantum physics. Quantum physics in Waterloo. But look, this is about this government giving their insider developer friends a free ride. Municipal governments keep doing more with less, but at every turn they're met with nothing but disdain and blame from this Premier. Some municipalities are estimating that by limiting their ability to charge developer fees, this government is bilking them out of tens of millions of dollars over the next 5 years. Toronto alone is anticipating $2.3 billion in lost revenue. Local governments run the buses people take to work. They maintain our local roads, and they try to build the affordable housing units we so desperately need. When is this government going to commit to stop offloading their costs onto municipalities and partner with them to build stronger, more caring communities?
Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing to reply.
No, Speaker, again, to the Leader of the Opposition, what she's really saying is she's against nonprofit housing providers like Habitats for Humanity from getting deferred development charge. Many of the opposition members, when they were on local councils, voted in favour of deferring or eliminating development charges for nonprofit housing and other groups like Habitat for Humanity. So when they were municipal councillors, they were in favour of this type of policy, but now that they're part of the NIMBY party, they're going to be against it. You know, when it comes to the NDP, their housing policy has no merit.
The next question. Leader of the Opposition.
Speaker, let me tell you, this has nothing to do with nonprofits or building affordable housing. With this.
Oh, stop the clock. Stop the clock. Stop the clock. Government side must come to order. I have to be able to hear the member who has the floor. Present time, it's the Leader of the Opposition, not the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, although he might get his turn. Start the clock. Leader of the Opposition.
Speaker, with this government, people out there know it's about who you know and how much you'll pay for it. That's right. Back in 2018, one of the first things this government did was take away permanent paid sick days from working people. What a cruel way to start their term, and terrible public policy too. People should not have to choose between putting their co-workers, customers, and community at risk or losing a day's pay. We have tabled 3 times now. Since then, the Stay Home If You're Sick Act. It would give people 10 permanent paid sick days, but you vote it down every time. Will this government give workers the time they need to recover and keep people safe by backing the NDP plan for 10 permanent paid sick days?
Minister of Labour, Immigration, Training and Skills Development.
Mr. Speaker, we were the first province in Canada to bring in paid sick days during the pandemic to support those workers, Mr. Speaker. We were the first province in the country to bring in job-protected leave to ensure that when those workers stayed home, they couldn't be fired from their job. Mr. Speaker, we're working for workers every single day. I'll remind the Leader of the Opposition that she voted against our plan to hire 100 more health and safety inspectors in this province, to bring the inspectorate to the highest in provincial history. But, Mr. Speaker, this is an NDP party that has abandoned workers in this province. But under the leadership of Premier Ford, we'll work for our workers every single day.
Supplementary question.
I'll point out, Speaker, that those measures that the minister talked about are temporary and they end at the end of this month. Speaker, the Conservative members must be hearing the same stories that we are from people in communities all across this province who are exhausted. They feel abandoned by this government. Parents living in constant fear that if they or their kid gets sick, they won't be able to pay their rent or afford the groceries, and the Premier can stay home when he gets sick. Why do these workers deserve anything less? Will this government finally side with working people and make sure everyone has access to 10 permanent paid sick days?
To reply, the Premier.
Mr. Speaker, do you know what helps workers? I'll tell you what helps workers. When we took office in 2018, the NDP and Liberals ran 300,000 jobs out of this province. As we stand here today, there's 600,000 more people being able to pay rent, pay a mortgage, buy a home, get a car, and an electric vehicle card. Because we're creating the environment and the conditions for companies to come here and thrive and prosper and grow. And when they thrive, prosper and grow, Mr. Speaker, the people that work at those companies thrive, prosper and grow. They put more money into their pockets, more job security. This is an employee's market right now. We're short 380,000 people that fill the jobs. Our GDP is at $1 trillion now, 18th largest in the entire world, right here in Ontario. That's what helps people.
Stop the clock. Members will please take their seats. Order. Order. Member for Brampton North, come to order. Member for Kitchener-Conestoga, come to order. Start the clock. Final supplementary.
I tell you that this Premier is so out of touch. This room is filled today with nurses who are leaving this province at record levels. Nursing has become our greatest export from this province because this government fails to respect working people in this province. Speaker, it took COVID for this government to give even anyone the 3 paid sick days only for COVID, only for the first time you get COVID, and even that ends at the end of March. Get out there and listen to people in communities across this province. They are struggling. People like parents who can't take time off because they need to put food on the table. It is not a laughing matter. It is not something you should be applauding yourselves for. Government could do something about this. Will you give them the paid sick days that they need? Thank you.
Members will please take their seats. Premier.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We love our nurses. We know the dedication. They go in and day out.
Order.
But I'll tell you the numbers, Mr. Speaker. Since 2018, there's 60,000 more nurses registered here in Ontario. There's 8,000 more doctors. We set a new record. There was 12,000 alone just last year. We're going to continue hiring nurses. There's 30,000 nurses in our colleges and universities ready to serve. We're grateful, and we think the world of our nurses, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, we've been listening to a pretty excited question period inside the Ontario legislature. We heard from Peter Bethlen-Falvey, the finance minister, earlier, talking about communities, telling him thank you for all the investment the Ford government is making. We also heard from the Premier touting all his achievements, but Leader of the Opposition, Marit Stiles, is saying that nursing has become the province's greatest export and that the government should just give the nurses their paid sick days to fix the housing crisis, and is also accusing, of course, the Ford government of letting their rich developer friends get away with not paying.